Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with episode 35 of Life on the Rocks with your host, Connor LaRocque. Today's featured guest in the hot seat is one of my good friends, Dante Delfrate. How you doing, brother?
Nice to see you, Connor. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's an absolute pleasure to have Dante on the show. So for anyone who doesn't know out there who Dante is, surprised you haven't seen him on Facebook yet, he's actually a local real estate agent in the city of Sudbury with the Stephen Kula team. So that's one of the most prestigious teams you see out there. You see their signs all over the place. They must be doing something right. So first question I want to ask you today, what got you started in real estate? I know it's a big field. What got you started?
I was pursuing mining engineering at Laurentian University, and I was diagnosed with ADHD a few years prior to that. And I was trying to, fit the university regime, take medication, and really try to fit in, and it just wasn't working for me. So I decided to take a step back, and I dropped out after 2 years. And I decided to, I got a job at Canadian Tire as a part-time mechanic, I would say. And it just wasn't really fitting the bill. So I knew I wanted to get into something to do with sales. And my parents' real estate agent at the time, Hilda Allison, she's a sweet, sweet lady, and she helped me out and told me that I'd be really good at it. She had me over to her place for a coffee, gave me some books, got me started. And then from there, she told me that the Kula team provided the best training, and that's who I should call. And the rest is history.
Well, I find that awesome. So you went in, so it's such a flip, right? You're going to be doing mining engineering, very logical, problem solving, and going headfirst into sales. Yeah. When you were studying some of that engineering and stuff like that, were you bored with it, or was it just something like, what even drove you to go into mining engineering in the first place?
My dad's a mechanical engineer by trade.
Okay.
And my grades weren't good enough to get into mechanical engineering, so I started off with mining, and it was actually a social study program to get into that. And I found I would do really good. I would get very motivated in the beginning. I'd give it my all. I'd have very high grades, and I'd just break down halfway through because it wasn't for me,
Definitely.
So I'd kind of give up halfway through, and I knew it just wasn't working. I actually tried going back about 2-3 times before I finally put the kibosh to that.
Absolutely. I want you to walk me through that. Were your parents, were they saying, no, Dante, just finish it, just get it done? Or was it one of those decisions where you knew inevitably, I just want to get out of school?
I have very good parents. They're very supportive. They help me out with school and the financial aspect of things, so I'm very lucky when it comes to that. And really, they were behind me 100% no matter what I did. I have to say I'm very lucky when it comes to parents, yeah.
No, definitely. I find that funny. Like my old man, I remember I'm like, Dad, I don't think I'm going to make it here. I got to drop out. And he's like, my dad's like a military type where, give you a little bit of a boot in the rear end. But it all worked out, right? So did you enjoy, I think with school, right, there's a controversy we see in everyday society. It's like, well, should I waste, not waste, that's a wrong word I'm using, but should we invest the money to, go forward and get an education? So for us in sales, primarily, a lot of the time, education's great. You got to keep constantly expanding, but do you really have to go out and get the law background? How do you feel about that, with these people, with the education problem or phenomenon, what you want to call it?
I agree that school is a tool that can be used to educate yourself to get where you want to go, but I don't think that you can rely on a degree the way you used to when my dad was growing up, let's say, I think what's more important is a solid set of skills that will help you, and motivation and drive will take you a lot farther than a degree will these days.
Absolutely. It's that thing. It's something what's distinguishing you, right? And from the first moment we met, we connected really, really just, we hit it on the nail, let's just say.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk to you about this, and I know there's a lot of controversy actually behind this, so I'm glad you bring this up. So you say you have ADHD, for myself, right? You see this a lot of time, and I'm seeing students when I'm working in school, he's like, oh, I'm at a disadvantage, I have ADHD. For myself personally, and this is controversial, but I believe almost in a way it's an advantage because you have that extra energy, that boost to focus. If I'm focusing on, let's say, accounting, I'm not going to be good at it. I don't care about
passion.
That passion, right?
Yes, 100%. I agree with that. It's a gift and a curse, right?
Yeah.
It's something that everybody's got their personal struggles, and you need to overcome them and really work on focus and attention and really staying interacted with what you're doing.
Definitely.
But once you can kind of get a handle on that, I find that that passion, that drive, the ease in talking to people, you know, that was really an advantage for me when it came to sales, for sure.
Absolutely, and I see, like, it's funny, you would never think you have ADHD because you're so calm and composed.
Yes,
Whereas, you know,
yes.
and I don't even know if I'm like actually diagnosed with it because I can focus on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like, it's just where's it pulling you, right? That's what you look for. In terms of real estate, what is it that you enjoy so much about the real estate field?
I like making my own schedule. That's very nice. I probably work more than somebody working 40, 50 hours a week, but it's all in my time, and I decide when and how.
Absolutely.
I'm always doing something different. You know, I could never do that 9 to 5 drag on, you know, that long day.
Absolutely.
But, you know, with real estate, I'm in the office for an hour, book some showings, make some phone calls, then I'm out with a client. You know, I could show 40 properties in a day, but every house is different. Every client I'm meeting is different. You know, it's really flexible for me.
Do you, as a real estate agent, like, just getting prepared to deal with different people, different, you know, backgrounds, whatever it is, do you go into the houses first before you check them, or like, holy crap, like, you got this listing, just go show the house? Like, how does that work?
Most of the time, the client will send me the property.
Okay.
And then, so what we do is we like to set our clients up on an email system.
Okay.
So instead of me calling them and bugging them all the time, I let them look through the listings and kind of, I have a criteria that I fill in for them and then automatically send them
Definitely.
the houses. They usually pick out what they want to see and then call me with the list to go out and see
great.
them. And if I don't hear from them for a while, they usually get a follow-up.
Yeah, you gotta be someone that makes one phone call. It's not gonna work, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we like to put the power into the buyer and seller's hands.
Absolutely.
And then let them make the decisions, kind of thing. But I'm there to educate and help them out.
For sure. I want you to talk. So you're only 23 years old. How long have you been doing real estate now?
This will be my 3rd year.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And then, so you're on, obviously, so Stephen Cool's team, very, you know, well known around the city. He's done a great job. Like, I've never met the gentleman myself. I want you to talk to me about his team, like the aspect, the environment, the culture within that business. Like, what is it that distinguishes them?
He set it up almost like a lawyer's office. You're not going to see the doctor running around answering the phones, doing the paperwork. Everybody's got a key role, and we all work together to get the job done. So we have Stephen, who stays in the office and directs phone calls where they need to go. This way here, no opportunity is missed. If I'm busy with you today and I have a client who wants to go see some houses, I'm not going to be answering my phone because that would be rude.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they can call 6-7 at any time and speak with him directly. And if I'm busy today, he can set them up with another agent on my team to show them houses so that we can work with your schedule. We have a marketing and advertising professional in our office 24/7. She, you know, makes the sky bluer, the grass greener, makes sure everything looks good. We have client care just there to, you know, help out our clients,
Sure.
you know, help us out writing offers, booking showings if we're busy. It's a really, really good system.
As a real estate agent, like, are you guys dealing, like, so do you guys have to deal hand in hand with lawyers as well? Like, I'm just trying to get the context for people out there. People
We do everything.
Yeah.
So my job is to basically take the stress and the stress out of the process.
Absolutely.
So a lot of buyers don't have these trusted contacts that we deal with day to day. And if a contact comes to me and says, you know, I want to use my banker, I want to use my lawyer, and I want to use my insurance broker, that's perfect. You know, obviously you've got a good rapport with them. But we deal with the top contacts in the city when it comes to those kind of things, and then we provide those to our clients when they come to see us.
No, absolutely. So the one thing I want to talk to you about, like, and that makes perfect sense. I'm trying to think here, like, so I always like to gear questions right when we're talking about sales. So instantly, there's always, and every time I bring somebody on the show, it's somehow sales comes up. It has to. How do you feel about the stigma associated with the aspect of being a salesperson?
Yeah, I think it's all about how you compose yourself, you know. First impressions are very important. You want to come across as professional and literate, and for me, it was a big turn to realize that you're not going to every client's not going to like you, but they need to respect you.
Definitely, yeah.
And then that way there, when you give them advice and your opinion and whatnot, there's that trust built up and that respect. And then I find the whole deal usually goes smoother when everybody's on the same page and there's no surprises. So
absolutely,
it's very important to sit down with every client that I deal with. I sit down with them for about an hour and a half before we even do anything, and I explain the whole process to them about what's going to happen, what costs are involved, what to expect, things that can go wrong, and then that way there, when these things come up, we're ready for it, and nobody's going to be surprised.
No, so I think that's really good. Yeah, you give them, like, you do the due diligence, everything back, so they're not just sitting there, here, give me your money.
When you go to, if you ever end up in court, I don't know is not an acceptable answer.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Yeah.
I didn't know at the time. Yeah, somebody's gonna be saying something.
It's your job to know, right? So,
Absolutely,
exactly.
And I think too, that's the other thing with sales, right? It's one of those fields where you don't have to be 30, 40, 50 years old to have any type of legitimacy within the sales field. You know what I mean? Yeah. You could be coming in there 19 years old, and you see some people back in the day, they're just killing it. Exactly. I've actually heard tons of stories. I've seen a few of them actually myself. The guy was making a joke. He's like, yeah, I'm 35 years old, and he's like, my boss is 22, and he's working, he's driving his nice car, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, it's all, I think it's all personal basis. It's what you want to do with it, right? And that's what I like is when you put forth energy and effort into it, you get a direct result back when it's your own business, right?
No, absolutely. How do you find anything associated with the fact that, let's say you're 23, does anyone kind of give you a hard time ever?
All the time.
Yeah. I know, it's funny.
Yeah,
I get the same,
For sure. I've actually had people in my first year ask to deal with another member because they felt I wasn't old enough. Mm-hmm. So then I sit down and I say, what are your concerns, and deal with those concerns, and then they quickly realize that I know what I'm talking about, and I can handle myself well.
Well, that's it. You're sharp, and I'm going to do the job. It's like, what's this guy have to have other another 5 years, 25 more failures? It's like, no, I can do the job. This is what I'm qualified to do, right?
Exactly.
And it's always that stigma. Everybody thinks like with the generations above them, they're like, oh, we're not older. So I want to kind of flip it for a second. Let's talk marketing, for instance. So because sales and marketing go hand in hand. As a real estate agent, you're in a market right now, it's saturated, right? But which is fine. There's tons of real estate there. People are always going to be buying, selling houses. Mm-hmm. How do you distinguish yourself in today's market?
Being on top of the technology and really, things that will work for a certain amount of time, and then I find they'll get stale. So we've been trying to implement new ways to, with exposure and stuff. We've been working with a company called AdWorks lately.
Okay, yeah.
They advertise with postal codes. We also, we've been trying to advertise our properties with emojis now.
Well, that's good.
That's a big thing. Kids these days love to see the emojis and whatnot. So we found we get like 3 times as many clicks when we advertise with emojis rather than a big description.
Really? Wow.
So it's staying on top of the technology and making sure that we're, we have the same formulas, but we have to keep updating them as we go. Absolutely.
Do you find traditional-based marketing is kind of losing its touch more so for real estate agents? Like you see, like I'm driving down the Kingsway, for instance, and I start seeing, a guy on a bench. Like, do you think that is as effective as it used to be?
I don't think somebody's going to call you from a billboard or a bench.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But it is a good way to get exposure. Yeah,
definitely.
You want your face seen as many times as possible. The more that they see your face, the more when they start thinking about real estate that your name is going to pop into their head. So I do think it is effective. I don't think it is what it is. Things are changing now, we still advertise in over 23 different websites, and we also advertise in all of the print ads throughout the city. So
it's great.
We don't skimp on the paper ads, even though they're expensive. Our motto is, it doesn't matter where somebody's looking, but if they're looking for similar product, they will see your home.
It's so true. No, absolutely. Yeah, try to get it like I always say in marketing, it's that omnipresence, right? Trying to be everywhere, so at least you have an association. It's like, wow, I'm looking for a house. That house looks good. Mm-hmm. And who's the first person they're going to call if they're thinking, So putting that kind of that circle around them, and then you build a relationship. So how important? Obviously, I know these are kind of brief questions, but in your field specifically is networking. For instance, like you go to all the events. You try to get your seen as many places as possible.
For sure, as much as time permits. And I find networking is great to get your name out there, but it's also motivates you. Keeps you active. It reminds you why you got into the business in the first place. It's easy to get into a rut and ride out your highs and then right? Because real estate's a roller coaster. It's always up and down, and it's easy to have a busy day and then come home and relax instead of doing your hour of prospecting like you should. Right? So I think networking is a very important tool as far as keeping your drive and motivation, and really learning from other like-minded individuals.
No, absolutely. I think that's great. How do you feel like this is obviously so I look at real estate agents, some would argue differently. You guys are entrepreneurs. In the basic sense, you guys are setting schedules, you're doing it. A real estate agent is the full-fledged entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But talk to me about that for a second, like how, because eventually a lot of these people are going to go into real estate, then you're going to start another company, whatever it goes through. Like, what is some of your plans, maybe, if you want to touch on that? Like, obviously you're going to keep selling houses. I know that's going to be your bread and butter.
Yeah, I would like to keep selling houses. I don't think I'll ever give up my real estate license. I'd like to continue using my license to purchase good deals in the city and build a real estate portfolio. Rental properties are a great investment. And also too, I'm looking at expanding. I deal a little bit with cryptocurrencies. I won't get too much into that.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
It's a complicated subject. Yeah, for sure. And also too, a lot of online sales is kind of what I'd like to branch into as well. So Amazon has a nice. Trying to think of the word.
We were talking about before the interview.
It's called Fulfilled by Amazon. It's a program basically that Amazon offers where you can ship things directly from China right to their warehouse and sell on Amazon, and they take care of all the client relations. So it's a once you get the business going, it's a nice passive income.
No, absolutely. Do you think so? Especially with today's era, right? We're going through a time of mass disruption in all markets. Everything's kind of getting hit. Do you think we should really have a push on entrepreneurship? Do you encourage people to go out and try to create their own reality? How do you feel about that?
I think that should be taught in high school.
No kidding,
entrepreneurship, because I mean, if they can teach you calculus, they can teach you sales.
No kidding.
Right?
Yeah. Communication in general, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I think that should definitely be implemented into to schools, and even just offered for the students who would like to pursue that.
Yeah. Yourself as a millennial, how do you feel? What do you think is one of the biggest obstacles facing millennials right now?
To be taken seriously, I find. The age is a big thing. It's the age is the biggest thing as far as respect and people understanding that you know what you're doing, kind of thing. I would say that's the biggest obstacle that I've had to deal with so far.
Yeah.
But with that, on the other side of things, we're young, we have the energy, we're good with technology. And we have a lot of bonuses with that as well too.
Absolutely, and I really appreciate that. So I've never actually heard that. Like a lot of people say that, it's an age, or it's like, oh, well, we don't know anything coming from the other generation. I make the quote and I say it all the time. It's like the market doesn't care how old I am. The market cares what I sell and bring a value.
Exactly.
And that's really it. It's how you deliver at the end of the day. You could be sitting with a room of executives, and then all of a sudden you're an authority in a different realm, but they're like, oh no, he's too young. But then you have something. Like you see so many people nowadays that are becoming millionaires, and they have these massive followings, and they're young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have more influence than somebody that's twice our age,
exactly.
And they're proving to the world that that in this time everybody has an impact. So one of the most important things, and I wanted to close this off on this round, as a real estate agent, I mean, it's important to give back. How do you feel about giving back? Like for me, it's everything in the sense that you go out there. Like we say, I'll just give you an example, and I'm sorry to go on here, but I think this is a good one to frame for people. So we live in somewhat of a capitalistic society, and people are always like, well, capitalism, everyone's trying to make money. And the way I see it is this: I say, you got to go out there, make a killing, make a ton of money, do all this stuff, so in the end you can give back that much more.
Exactly.
So, but they're going to be like, oh, is it someone with like a different mentality? Well, people are at a disadvantage, right? They're like, you're at a very bad disadvantage. Well, that's why they need people like you and I, people that are going out there killing it to bring those people up. And that's my philosophy. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, well, we just with Remax ourselves, we donate a portion of our commission to the Sick Kids Foundation. And Remax Crown locally, our office has started working with the Neo Kids, I believe, in Sudbury. So I'm not familiar exactly on what they give in regards to that, but we've been working with them. So I do agree with you. It's very important to give back and not always take from your market, but to return the favor.
Like we got to go out there, and I no offense, like in a good way, like we got to go out there and you want to break through barriers and do all these things, but at the end of the thing, it can't just be about oh, it's me. It's like, what can we do to give back? And that's where I truly believe the sense of fulfillment comes from. Would you argue? Do you find that we're losing our sense of community in this world? Even though we're so connected, we are disconnected. It almost seems that you look at the numbers in the churches and all over these communities, everybody's kind of becoming segregated in their own little thing. I find we're losing a sense of community. I don't know if you disagree.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I would say that I find people are realizing that you don't necessarily need a large circle. I maybe have 3 close friends that I deal with, but it's funny you mentioned that because we're more connected now than we've ever been in time, and I feel like nobody says hi to each other on the street anymore when you walk by, right? Even my neighbors don't. My neighbor brought me a wheelbarrow the other day when I was doing my weeping tile, and I was shocked. It was awesome. But no, I do agree with you. I feel that there's enough money to be made for everybody. There's enough success for everybody. So I think we should all work to bring each other up and really achieve our goals together.
Do you believe we're raising a generation of narcissists with this society?
I think every generation's going to have a problem that they got to deal with, but I think it comes down to the individual at the end of the day.
For sure, and I actually agree with that 100%. And that's what I'm starting to see as I'm like trying to do some research, and it's this value and the values and beliefs, right? Like, what are your values and beliefs? And a lot of time they're conflicting with a lot of different things. People are like, oh, I want to make money, but then you want to step on 50 other people to get to there, and that's no way to make, you know what I mean, a living, right?
Yeah.
The most important question out of anything here today. So you're a successful real estate agent, an entrepreneur. I consider you. What are we going to see next from you? Is there anything specifically? Do you want to build a team? Where do you want to go? Are you staying in Sudbury? I know that's a general and a broad question, but I want to get an idea of what's coming up next from Dante, because I mean you've been killing it, man. So.
Yeah, I don't see anything changing as far as with the Kula team. I'm very happy. Stephen provides amazing tools for us to really help our clients. He provides us with the education, the knowledge, the know-how, the ins and outs. So for the short term, I mean 5 to 10 years, I'll be in Sudbury probably selling with the Kula team. In the future, when I'm 30 plus years old, I see myself in California.
Really?
Yeah.
What's drawing you there? Yeah.
The warm weather.
Absolutely.
Warm weather in the oceans. That's it. Yeah.
That's the one spot to be.
Yeah.
Also, before I know this, like I always go into different things. Like, what are some of the things? So Mr. Kula uses like in his sales training. Like he obviously does a ton of research and has different things. Like, what's his kind of like leadership strategy? Not strategy. I know we can't convey it, but like, how's he? What's he doing?
Stephen has an unmatched drive. And he really helps us out, keeping us on track, you know. With my personality type, the ADHD, you know, like I said, it's always up and down. Stephen's very detail-oriented, and he's always on. And, you know, if I'm slipping, I'm in my office, and what can we do to help you, you know? He's on top of it. And I couldn't ask for a better team to work with.
That's huge. I think, and I can see that from him too, from what I've just seen. It's like the Simon. I've been studying a lot of Simon Sinek right now, and so Sinek always goes on about, you know, with jobs, what if we didn't fire people, we just coach them more, instead of just trying to boost the numbers, we're working those people, and it seems almost as though he does that perfectly within his environment.
Sits down and he goes, "What am I doing wrong?"
Yeah.
First thing, you know. And you couldn't ask for a better boss than that, you know.
No, for sure. I appreciate that. Honestly, I gotta say, Dante, it's been an absolute pleasure. This went by quick, my friend.
Yeah.
Seriously, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Connor.
But first off, where can we get him on social media? You got tagged in there. What about
just
Instagram?
Facebook? That's it.
Okay, so you're a Facebook man.
Just business on Facebook.
We're gonna get him on Instagram.
Yeah,
we're gonna get him on.
Monday,
We're gonna get him on Instagram.